station where dreams can come true, waiting there for you.
After the success of Season 1, Britt and David decided to continue on with the series and make a second season. Now with TV shows, new series usually take about a couple of months or 1 full year. But with Thomas, we had to wait 2 years for Season 2. The reason for this was because Britt needed 2 things for Season 2. So she asked Christopher, the son of the Reverend Audrey, to make not 1, but 2 railway series books for Season 2. So he did, and they were both published in 1986, the same year that Season 2 was released. One of these books was called More About Thomas the Tank Engine and Thomas and the Missing Christmas Tree. After she got the 2 stories, they were soon making and filming the stories in 1986. Before Season 2 had aired, there was one story from the railway series that was going to be made in Season 2, called The Missing Coach. But Britt thought that the story would be too complex for kids to understand, so they canceled it and replaced it with Thomas, Percy, and the Cold. After they were done filming, they released Season 2 on September 2nd, 1986. Like the first season, they still had the same people working on the show, like David Mitton, Michael Donald Jr. Campbell, and Ringo Starr as the narrator. Although there were some stuff different with Season 2, like they expand the setting a little more and add new places and new tracks. And they even added some of the new characters from the Railway series, like Doug, Diesel, Daisy, and so forth. They even added some more background music for the new characters, as well as some old ones.
The engines were glad when a visitor came. He purred smoothly towards them.
The stories were more gripping as well, and sometimes a little sad. Just how the Reverend did it with the books, Britt and David wanted this season to be a little bit more mature. Like Season 1, it did pretty good with the fans of the older season, as well as some new ones as well. So another season was about to come out in 5 years. But during that time, Britt decided to take Thomas to America. When she showed the show in America, they rejected it at first because they only take 30-minute shows, not 5. So Britt decided that in order to show Thomas to America is to make a spin-off show. But instead of using the same people that work with Thomas, she found other people to make the live-action scenes at the new spin-off show, Shining Time Station. One of these people that helped her out was a man named Rick Sigurd. The show first aired on January 29, 1989. The show was 30 minutes long that would have different scenes besides the station. Ringo Starr would play a little man that works on the island of Sodor, and he would tell 2 Thomas stories to give to kids or other people advice to help deal with their troubles. There are some differences with the Thomas stories in the U.S. For one thing, they had to change some of the names of the people and rolling stock in the show to fit in with the American audience. For example, the back controller would be called Sir Topham Hatt instead, so that some people wouldn't be offended. The guards would be called conductors, and the trucks would be called freight cars. Also, some lines would be changed in the stories. Here's an example of what I mean by that.
Including Gordon, the biggest and proudest engine of all. Thomas likes whistling rudely at him. Wake up, lazy bones, why don't you work hard like me? Oh. Thomas likes to tease Gordon with his whistle. Wake up, lazy bones, why don't you work hard like me?
Now this will be all well and done, but only one problem. In the UK, they would show the episodes in order, and they would mention some stuff that happened in the past episodes. In Shining Time Station, however, they started showing the episodes in order, but then they started showing them out of order, starting with Thomas Comes to Breakfast. So there will be some scenes that will confuse some of the U.S. audience. For example, in Thomas Comes to Breakfast, we see Toby, Donald, and Douglas. But this episode came out before Toby the Tram Engine and Donald and Douglas. So if you were watching Shiny Time Station and saw these characters, you would not know who they are. Despite what I said before, Shiny Time Station was a hit, and Thomas was now traveling around the world. And so with all this, Season 3 was on its way, but there were going to be some changes.